Hey, Jason, stop poking your brother with a
Right.
laser in his eye.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
The pyramids are actually power plants.
It's an experience and a feeling that I hope to live and experience more in the future. Two guys, two worlds. This is the flip side. New episodes uploaded on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify every week on Wednesday and Saturday. Now, here's your host, Jason and Noel. That's what I said, you nincompoop.
All right. Thanks for clicking on our pretty little faces again. We are back.
We are back 1 hour
After
later. Jesus Christ. Huh? What a debacle was that is.
that is part of our lives that I would rather forget.
Yeah.
At least we've shared a really traumatic experience now together. We're bonded. We're brothers for life.
I mean, just for you, a little bit of picture here. We just spent the last 40 minutes trying to figure out why I can't hear Noel for some odd reason. It just shut off. And we just spent the
Hopefully,
last. I don't even know how we fixed it, to be honest with you.
hopefully that's not going to happen in any of our future guests. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
But that kind of scared me. My armpits got sweaty there. Did yours? Did you?
No, no, not really. My ass,
Getting
on the other hand, yeah, it's a little bit damp and whatnot. Anyway, welcome to
whoa,
the podcast. This is the flip side
whoa,
with Jay and Noel. My name is
whoa, whoa,
Jason.
whoa. My name is Noel. I'm here in the Philippines and I
Hey,
am the hero dad.
good morning, good evening.
Coffee's cold already, for sure.
Ah, anyway,
And that omelet is going down not as smooth as I thought it would. So it might just be a short podcast today, Jay, okay? Just in case.
okay, all right. Well, good to know. Good to know ahead of time, you know. But I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, how you been?
Slow start. Yeah, good question that you asked me that. Can I just get a couple of things out of the way
Yeah,
before
absolutely.
we run out of time again? Just a couple of quick tidbits here that I went through the week. Just thinking I'd throw this into the podcast when we get the chance to. There's some latest news that I wanted to mention,
Yeah.
some latest interest that I've had also. And let me start off with the podcast title. So I was sharing our podcast with a friend because she wanted to hear the latest thing on me and maybe possibly do a podcast with her also. So anyway, I Google I didn't Google. I was typing in Facebook our channel, right? The
Yeah.
flip side. And then these guys also came up another flip side title. So I was thinking, should we start changing our title or anything like that? But I figured we're fine because we're Jay and Noel and anybody can copy, the flip side. But
Right.
probably a 1 in a million chance that there's going to be a flip side with also Jay and Noel also.
Yeah. I mean, but I know I did my due diligence and did my research to make sure that there's no other titles like that. And I didn't find any.
So as I was mixing my coffee this morning, and by the way, you know that I have not been doing the dishes when I am mixing my coffee with a Chinese spoon,
Oh, for
a
crying
Chinese
out loud, man.
soup spoon, because somebody hasn't been doing the dishes.
That would
Yours
be
true.
you. Yeah.
And wait, where was I segueing into this?
Flip
Oh,
side.
yeah, no, I just wanted to share with you that it's so frustrating that one of my favorite bands back in the early 2000s, there's Third Eye Blind. Are you familiar with them? There's from San
Yeah, of
Francisco.
course.
So I actually didn't know them when I was still there. I found out about them when I moved back here already. Anyway, so a couple of years ago, I got really excited about hearing them having a podcast. And so I would listen, but it's just so disappointing that the title of their guess what the title of their podcast is. If you're familiar with them, guess what the title of their podcast is.
I actually don't. I never knew they had a podcast until now.
So I was okay. So I was thinking that they'd come up with a cool title like Semi Charmed Live Podcast. No, uh,
I can't
what
wait. I can't
the
wait to
gra-
hear this.
The Graduate podcast. You know what are the other titles of their songs? How's it gonna be?
How's
How's
it
it
gonna
gonna
be?
be?
Yeah, yeah.
Podcast or Stephen Jenkins podcast or something like that. You know what they came up with?
What?
The Pod of Wine.
Huh?
Are you familiar with their song called The God of Wine?
Yes, yes.
So they
That's why
titled
that doesn't even make sense to me.
The Pod of Wine.
I mean, you'd figure you'd pick something like a song that people actually like, you know?
So I love it because they got their friends, they got their thing going on there, and then sometimes they do like concerts and stuff. But I'm
Right.
still so uneasy about the Pod of Wine.
The pod of wine.
Bro,
I don't know.
Stephen Jenkins, man, come on. You could still change it if you wanted to. We
You can
we
do
can still
you can do
we
better than that, man. Come on.
we can still change our title to Two Guys in a Pod.
No, two guys in a pod, really? Or the
Right.
fish
So
pond with J. No, that sounded really, really bad.
right. So anyway, circling back to the flip side UK, that if that's what you're looking for, that's not us. This is the flip side. Jay Noel, both Filipinos, me in the Philippines, Jay in the US somewhere
Correct.
where people
Around
do.
around the corner.
Yeah. Uh, what else did I wanted to get out of the way here?
What else was happening?
I wanted to ask you if you had any other favorite podcasts that you listen to, but we could do that later.
Yeah, yeah,
Podcast
we don't need to do that right now. I mean, let's worry about
titles.
our own podcast.
Okay, before I get to the latest news, which one's more interesting here? I was just thinking last week, I forgot to mention that went sort of down this rabbit hole of, and I didn't realize this was like a hot thing a couple of years ago, although I was hearing a couple of friends reading similar books. Have you heard about like pyramids possibly being the pyramids, basically ancient engineering,
Yeah,
the pyramids and
yeah.
that kind of thing? Did you ever kind of get into that?
The gateway, the possible gateway or signals from the place beyond.
Mm, I think you're two steps ahead of me already. I'm just
Oh,
thinking in terms of there was a
and
guy, Christopher Dunn, wrote a book on how he theorizes that the pyramids are actually like what's the word? Like power plants? Like, because
yeah,
you know how, well, first of all, the one that, and I don't want to get into it too much now, and I don't really feel nerdy about it. I wanted to segue about what I was interested after the after the after the pyramids, but just to uh let you in on what I've been going down on. It was just basically how, oh, and then there's also Uncharted X. That's another podcast that I'm sort of looking into because they don't release episodes all the time, but when they have something interesting, they talk about it. So these guys basically they have been talking about how, if you look at it really closely, no, how that basically we've been sold, there's mainstream, and we'll probably end up talking about vaccines also or not, but you know how they say that there's like mainstream media, and then there's internet or maybe freelance media now.
yeah,
I just found it funny that there's also mainstream archaeology, and then there's also I don't know, maybe pseudoscience internet archaeology.
right. I think
Basically a whole bunch of nerds like ourselves going down into this rabbit hole, researching everything. They might or might not have been to the pyramids themselves,
right,
but most of them sounds like they have already eventually.
right.
But it sounds like it kind of starts off with couch surfing or internet surfing on all these websites and documentation that they can find about the pyramids, just like myself, that I'm getting into, and then next thing you know, they're pyramid experts already
Right, right.
because of all the research.
Well,
But
what were they talking about? This the pyramids being a power plant.
yeah,
You were
sorry,
saying?
kind of got lost there in my own thoughts. Yeah, so there's this book, uh Christopher Dunn. I think he's a legit um archaeologist, although I'm not so sure. But anyway, but he wrote a book, so he's at least an author for sure.
Right.
Um, that he theorizes that the pyramids were actually a power plant on how ancient technology basically was that they had power tools, that they had electricity back in the days.
Right. Right. Well,
So,
I've actually heard something about that. That the I heard something. I can't remember where. I think it was in the Discovery Channel where I might have watched something in regards to a couple of guys. Um, they have a theory that it was supposed to be built as like a generator, so to
mm,
speak.
mm,
You know,
mm.
I'm not too familiar about it, but
Yeah.
that's all. That's the only thing basically I remember about it. Like I'm saying, the most that I could tell or know about it or what I heard is the fact that the theory was it was built as a generator, like a
Mm,
power
mm,
generator that's
mm.
supposedly to disperse energy throughout Egypt.
Mm. That's
I don't
right.
know anything else in regards to that. You know,
Right. So the one that kind of blew me away. So I was sort of going down that rabbit hole of, how it's possible that these guys had, advanced technology back in the ancient times,
right?
even power tools and that kind of thing. Because if you really look at it, they were saying that, how could they cut through granite and all these really hard material without having power tools? Like basically you expect us to believe that they could have done this with just, you know,
Like a
uh,
rock and a chisel,
yeah, exactly. So basically we were kind of, I guess for the lack of a better term, sort of like brainwashed into that idea,
right?
even if they were finding out more information about, the pyramids, and also realizing that. And whether that's true or not, what I found most amusing was how I kind of realized that my eyes were also closed, or not that I was really interested in pyramids before, but just the fact that like that expression, like, oh nga no, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right, huh?
yeah.
Like it's just that whole feeling of like,
Like something making sense.
yeah, it's like, that's right. Why didn't I think of that the first time that I saw it? Like, why did I just take things hook, line, and sinker and just believe in the first thing that was told to me?
Right, right.
So that's one thing. So anyway, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, go ahead.
Yeah,
Maybe I could share a couple of links on the description or whatever. If anybody's listening to this, I could, whatever, right?
right.
Which reminds me, I haven't shared the link about the Jordan Peterson thing that I wanted to correct
Yeah,
myself
you're kind
on.
of slacking on that one. Well, I haven't put up episode 13 to be honest with you.
Okay, but before I get lost, let me get this one last thing out of the way. So the cherry on top about my pyramid research uh labyrinth the past couple of weeks was the idea that, and I think it was also Chris Dunn that kind of mentioned this, that it was so advanced that the Egyptians might or might not have been the ones that made the pyramids themselves.
What do you
Why?
mean? Like somebody else made it?
Exactly, because they're credited for having been the ones that have made it, right? It's possible that they
Yeah.
didn't know about it to begin with, and then they came across it and then realized, shit, this is cool. And then let's put our name on it, or let's be the ones to, you know what I mean? Because the Egyptians, when they had their stuff about the pharaohs and that kind of thing, they made a lot of drawings or a lot of stuff around the stuff that they did actually make.
Right.
But the power plants themselves, there's no hieroglyphics, no, we made this kind of signature.
Right.
And the mainstream archaeology also says that, oh, it was like the burial chambers of pharaohs and that kind of thing, but there weren't any mummies or anything like that found in there. And if you step back like
Well,
30,000 feet,
didn't they actually find a mummy in there?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I know they did.
Okay, one last thing.
Okay.
Maybe they did, but one last thing. And again, I could be butchering all these things, but if you do have that sort of engineering, architectural sort of drawings, design in your mind, from a perspective of being an engineer, you kind of notice that if you look at sort of the map of the pyramids from afar, doesn't it look like how should I put this? Like a power plant. Like it does have that power plant feel to it. You
It
know how when you
does.
do
I mean, now that I've really thought about it because of this whole conversation, it
mm,
does kind of have that power plant. It makes sense,
mm,
where the base is something stable to hold something being generated,
not
and then
just not
something
just I'm
at the
talking about stuff. Yeah, right. But I'm talking about the stuff inside. Like
right. No, no, I know,
there's
I know,
stuff
no.
there's stuff that they call like the Queen's Chamber or the King's Chamber and that kind of thing. But if you just look at the don't get lost in the names of the rooms in the house, so to speak, but kind
Right.
of just look at it from generator here and then the amplifiers here. It's like all like technical drawings. I mean, doesn't it make and then there's also a theory that it was like a large um like a musical instrument. Are
I
there?
I just Googled it. They never found any kind
Right.
of mummies.
So it's kind of like it's as clean as a whistle in terms of whatever that might have been.
Right.
It's a space where people either they for sure they didn't live there, they weren't buried there, and it
So
wasn't an
what
office
was
or
it
your
really built for?
I don't know,
You know
but
what I
I
mean?
I just go down that I just like to go down that idea that like it does make sense that it kind of looks and feels just by the drawings itself,
Right.
like the
Right.
technical drawings. Because you know how you when you look like a technical drawing of a house, you kind of know that it's a house, right?
Right.
I mean, if you take out the idea that it's a bathroom or a master's bedroom, take those names out and just it's a box here and then a box here and then kind of gives you that, you know what I mean? Or if you design a church, you
Not
see
really.
a schematic drawing of a building or an office, you kind of get that feeling of that space. So I'm just imagining if I saw, and I'm just, this is just street science, right? But it's like if I saw a schematic drawing of a power plant,
Right.
I could just imagine that that's really what it could be or what it looks like. That's what the pyramids are. But again, that's that.
Yeah.
But the one that really blew my mind was that it's possible that it wasn't even the Egyptians that found
Built it.
it,
Yeah.
that built it, that they just found it. So they could have been. So the whole overarching story of that idea is that it's possible that there was like really advanced technology before, ancient advanced technology. And then something could have just knocked everything out and then we started from zero again. As in like
That's
literally
that's
caveman.
really far fetched. I mean, it's it could be a possibility, but who's to say, right? I don't know. I, as much as I want to be that optimistic about that could have been something that started everything. You know what I mean? Like you said, like snap of a finger and a reset. But I'm I'm so used to the whole idea of how history
Mm,
could have been that
mm,
if there are any alternative to however it was or whatever, I
mm.
think it's still relatable to, well, human nature, really. Like people doing something about it. I don't think it was built or done through any other entity, so to speak. You know,
Right. Not necessarily. Exactly. That's not what I mean. But I think what I'm really just trying to get at with this whole sharing about the pyramids and that kind of thing, whether you believe in that, aliens or not aliens, that's
right?
besides the point. I think what I'm really just trying to share is the whole idea that we were sort of given this thing, we took it hook, line, and sinker without really like criticizing or being
Questioning.
questioning about what story was given to us,
Right.
or to me at least, and the whole idea of, oh yeah, huh, why didn't I think of that, and you know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like
It's a gray line, though. It's a
someone
really gray line.
someone like gave you a cup of coffee, and then says like, here, have a cup of coffee, but you're looking at it and it's like you didn't realize that it was like iced tea. But here I was drinking coffee the whole time, not realizing that it's
That
iced
it's
tea,
IC.
but I believe that it's coffee because that's what Jason told me it was coffee,
Right.
and it
Well, I
never
mean, then
really
that's
occurred
just
to me.
uh, pigmentational issues with imagination.
Right, right.
You know.
But again, maybe just to put cherry on top of that whole story, that it's possible that history wasn't it's possible that it wasn't like linear, like 0 to 10, like where
Right.
we are now, like 0 to 2023. It's possible that there could have been, ABCs before 0.
Right. Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like
No.
what,
No. No.
like,
It does. It does make sense a little bit. Like
so
what we know now, or how we've learned things, could actually have existed prior.
yeah.
You
And
know.
that the pyramids could have just been something that was given, not was given, but was something that maybe the Egyptians maybe discovered, and then they kind of became, uh, inheritance, or taking they just took care of the pyramids, just decided not to destroy it.
Having that kind of theory, though, you lead to ask, then who gave it? Who made it? Where did it come from? You know what I mean?
No, but that it's possible that it was just not aliens, humans before, but the whole idea that there could have been advanced civilization before
Yeah.
humans, not necessarily aliens, just humans, and then it could have been
Snap of a finger, like I said.
snap of a finger,
A
asteroid,
reboot.
something.
A reboot from the Matrix, basically.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I think back down now to this year, this day, to the present,
Ah.
dude, if there's like an asteroid that goes to and hits us, we have no chance.
Right.
Like right now, that could happen right now. Like all the stuff that we're putting up online, like, oh, it's going to be
Right.
up on the internet forever. It's possible that it's not. No, it's not. It's not going to be, it's not guaranteed that the stuff that we're doing now is going to last forever.
Well, it's definitely not gonna. I mean, nothing lasts forever. First thing. Well, I take that back. I mean, there's shit. At least as far as our human history has been, we're still discovering a lot of things from way, way, way back then. You know, the way they. You know what? There is a possibility that you could be definitely right because of how smart history was, how they discovered things, how they managed to calculate and whatnot in regards to everything. Everything came from the past, at least from our lifetime. You know, discovering of the Beltway, the Milky Way, the solar system, the atoms
Did you just
or the
say
atom.
everything? Did you just say everything came from the past?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree to that. Everything in the past rolls back to the future. I
Oh, okay,
definitely
okay.
believe in that.
Okay. I'm going to take time to digest what that meant. But
Hey, we all we let me put it this way. What I said before. What we learn from the past derives everything that goes into the future. Because you have to learn from something. We all have to learn from somewhere.
okay, I'm going to pretend like my brain didn't just get twisted in that whole reasoning that you just had there. But I think, just to put a cap on this topic real quick, it's, I think I'm just saying that it's kind of exciting. Yeah, it is exciting to me that, like, yes, history was written, but at the same time, it's still being written. Like, like right now, in the present, like while we're talking, we're still making our own history. It's like I guess it's the same thing for our own lives. I guess it's also what I'm saying. Like even if we're in our 40s,
Right.
yes, we're not 20 and we're not 30 anymore, but as we are moving forward, we are writing and reading and discovering new stuff about ourselves, which is a whole new universe.
We
So,
are always making history. Everything we do now in our lifetime will always be history.
and it's not even a matter of like rewriting it. It's just continuing to write and discover and write and read and write all at the same time, and how it's just all not permanent.
Right. Yeah,
So it's
I
like
understand.
somebody could get angry that I'm wearing whatever it is that I wore to sleep last night and I didn't even change and trying to make myself look good on camera. Okay, maybe that's right. I can always change and dress something more formal and presentable later or on the next
Yeah. Well, I
podcast
mean,
or next
anything
episode.
new is derived from something old. So anything that could be old could be new. So here's a segue to like a little bit of what we're talking about. A few days ago, I told you that I'm trying to digitalize everything, like my notes for the show and whatnot, right?
Oh, what happened?
Ah, I don't know. For some reason, I like doing it old fashioned where I'm putting everything on
Oh,
paper. I don't know what it is. I'd much rather write it down rather than type it.
is this a new thing for you? Is this a new discovery?
Yeah,
Like a
well,
pen and paper? You discovered the pen and the paper?
I guess. No, I mean, I was trying to, my train of thought of like trying to put everything into digital was to move forward with times, to get digitalized into the new age. But
Uh
I guess habit I don't know what it is, but I put the last 3 episodes, my notes digitally. And then prior to that, I put all, I don't know, 8 episodes that I have on notes and put it digitally. But
I,
now,
I
I don't know. I just prefer to do this all of a sudden. I don't know
I think
why.
I think the word that we both need to use not digitally, it's the word diligently, because I was also writing on my paper and with my paper and pen, and then now I can't find it. And then now, unlike digitally, I can copy paste and read it on any other device. But now that my notebook is missing and I can't find it, I need to be more what's the word that I just threw out?
Diligent.
Diligent in digitizing whatever it is that I wrote down.
Yeah. I
Because
don't
yeah,
know if I'm
you know,
going to digitize it or whatever. I don't know if
because
I'm going to do that.
what I'm saying is you have to have a way of capturing it. And that's for me, that's what the paper and pen is about, because it's faster than digitally, so I still need it as a resource. It's kind of like a pistol versus a rifle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
easy for me to get to if it's a pistol versus the rifle. I still have to put it up on my shoulder, aim it, and that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
I
it
don't
has its
know. It's like,
limited.
I don't know if I'm going to end up putting everything in the computer. I don't know if I can do that because it seems like it's too much work. Maybe
Whatever
that's
works
what
for
it
you.
boils down to. Maybe it is just too much work. Hey, am
One
I
sec.
sounding like I have echo?
No, no, no. But it sounded like you're so loud. Just a second though. Did you see my notebook? The small notebook that I
Yeah,
don't know where I
don't
put my
don't touch
notebook.
our
I had it
stuff
on my.
on the table.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Don't touch my stuff on the table.
Yeah. What
Don't
right does
touch my.
she have to
What?
touch your stuff?
What right do you have to touch my stuff? His words, not mine. Okay, one last thing before we go on this whole rant about this thing. One last thing I wanted to share with you, bro. The past month,
Yeah.
believe it or not, there have been three aeronautical airplane um accidents.
What do you mean in the
One,
Philippines?
yeah, small airplanes, not big commercial airplane types.
Right, right, right,
So
right.
So the past month I was in Bataan. There happened to be when we left, there happened to be on one of the days that we were shooting there on the morning. In the
Yeah.
afternoon when we left,
Yeah.
there happened to be like a Philippine Air Force training crash there.
Whoa.
Uh with a trainer and one or two of his and they landed on a rice field. So it was and then I think on the
So
same day
nobody lost their lives.
they did.
Oh
It was a
shit.
fatal accident. And then on the same day,
Yeah.
in Isabela, uh, a chartered airplane, Cessna, there was like 6 passengers. Until today, it's been almost like 3 weeks already. They're still missing. They still couldn't find the wreckage.
What do you mean? Is this like a public plane, like a little passenger plane,
Yes,
like
yes,
a big one? How many people?
6 passengers.
And they just disappeared off the radar.
Yeah, they were using it to commute. There's like a little jeepney in the sky, and
Right.
then there was bad weather, and then they until today they still can't find them. And then just a couple of days ago,
Right.
another one, another Cessna, really small plane. I think this time it was 4 people. So a pilot and then his co-pilot, and then I think two Australian nationals,
Right.
two foreigners. I think they were flying around the Mayon volcano or something like that. This one, it took a couple of no, not couple. I think 24 hours. It took a day for them to be found also, for the wreckage to be found.
Where was
But
it?
on the side of the volcano where they weren't supposed to be, but they weren't expected to be flying in that area.
Yeah.
But they searched around that area anyway, and they flew a drone. And as of today, I think the people are walking to the wreckage right now. But yesterday, the latest news was that they found the wreckage using a drone. Um, and then so now they're walking to the wreckage.
Wow.
So those are three different aviation accidents in less than a month.
Wow. That's crazy. And it seems like it's all the same kind of plane or size of plane.
Yeah, well, the two Cessnas, it just so happens that that's like the most popular. That's like a regular training small plane kind. Because like I think everything else outside of the Cessna, and I'm no aviation expert, but I think Cessna is like the most practical slash. It's like a Toyota or a Honda of the
Right.
airplane
Right.
industry, I think. And then everything else will be above that. Will be like a private jet already,
Wow. Wow.
or a more high end kind of luxury type. So Cessna is most practical in a sense that it's what student pilots use
Yeah.
most of the time, I think. And but so the recent accident was like a tourists, I think, flying around the Bicol area, and then the one in Isabela was a chartered flight because there's no roads between like the main province and the province. And then, like I said, the other one before that was a military airplane that crashed for some
Wow.
reason. So,
Wow.
so, but the two Cessna, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is like related to bad weather
Right.
because there was bad weather happening at the same time. But the one for the military accident, I have no idea why that. If I remember correctly, the weather was. I don't think weather was a factor. Um, but anyway, that's just what I wanted to share. As far
Right.
as
Right.
Philippine anything that's happening here in the Philippines recently
Hey,
is
let me ask you,
concern.
going into Philippine news real quick. So the Philippines has been kind of as of concern in regards to what's going on with the war in Russia, and how
Uh
China is now
oh
it's
yeah.
it's aiding Russia and whatnot in regards to this war, and
Wait,
it's
hold on.
causing yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but funny enough, you mentioned China. There was also an issue about like a Chinese military vessel or something like that,
Yeah,
like poking a laser at the Philippine Coast Guard. Did you hear about that one
exactly.
too?
That's that's what
They're like
that's
boop
that's
boop.
where I was actually trying to get at.
I'm
So
poking a little laser at you.
what are they saying over there about it? I mean, there's so many speculation that supposedly China is trying to go around and whatnot and try to I don't know. This whole thing with the South China Sea and all that crap, it's too much and it's scary to be honest with you. You know,
But isn't it kind of funny the sort of world relationship with China and Chinese nationals in a sense? Like, because like here in Las Piñas, there's a whole bunch of Chinese run, I think, call centers. It's like a little China here in Las Piñas all of a sudden.
really.
And then we see each other, we eat their Chinese food and everything, but and then we get their black market cheap China made stuff at the same time.
Right.
And then on the flip side of all of that, their military is poking a laser at our military. So it's
What
like
is that all about to
we're
begin
all
with?
we're all sort of like living together and slash poking each other at all at kind of the same time. It's like a big brother that's sort of getting really annoying, or a small
Right.
brother,
Right.
small sibling that's also small but big, maybe a younger sibling that I don't know, one of those things. But it all feels like that to me, I think, because we're all maybe we're all Asian, or because we're all like in this side of the world together and we don't like them, but we have to live together and we're the same family. It's kind of a
Right.
toxic
Right.
relationship that we can't
Anyway,
just like cut off because we are Asian. It's not, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's to be honest with you, it's kind of stupid in a way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. That's how it feels like. It's like, hey, Jason, stop trying to tickle your brother because of the remote, or something stupid like that. Okay, Jason, stop poking your brother with the
right,
laser in his eye. It's like, that's enough of that.
right. That's pretty
So
funny.
that's just that whole feeling of yeah, I think that's the word that I'm trying to say. Like rounding it up, it's just stupid. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
Like,
Anyway,
stop flushing the spaghetti down the drain if you don't want to eat it. Eat your vegetables.
something close to being stupid though. As a segue over here. For the
I'm
first
done,
time
by
in
the
my
way.
life,
I'm
what's
done, by
that?
the way. I'm done, by the way, with all my sharing and all my rants and
Oh,
stuff. Sorry
thanks, man.
about that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
All
cut you
yours.
off.
The
But
the the floor is yours.
I just want for the first thing that in my life, I went line dancing last night.
Huh.
Um, I don't, I don't know how that even happened. Okay, so last night I got dragged out. We were supposed to actually record last night. On Saturday night. That's our usual scheduled recording night for the second one on the week. But I forgot that my wife had prior commit. My wife and I had prior commitments to attend this birthday party.
So, in other words, this is your full Asian experience, relating it to the Chinese,
Oh, absolutely,
Filipino.
absolutely. Oh, don't jump into it. There's better.
Okay.
So we got invited. First of all, it's about an hour and a half away from my house. So
Okay.
we had to drive an hour and a half. Okay.
Wait, hold on. I want to be on your mindset here. Did you know that you were going to wherever it is
No,
that you were going, or what is it, a surprise?
no, it was a surprise.
Your
I
wife's
oh
surprise or your friend's
well,
surprise?
I don't know who to put it on because she told
Okay.
me it's a little far. I didn't really know how far. Stupid me
Okay.
didn't Google Maps the address, even though I already
Uh,
had it.
okay. So you're designated driver. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it was an hour and a half away to this Spanish restaurant, like a Spanish tapas restaurant
Okay.
in Hanover, Maryland, middle of nowhere, about an hour and a half. So we get there. Food was mediocre. Waitress did not even feel like she wanted to serve us whatsoever. So,
Mm.
whatever. On top of that, it's a party with a bunch of Filipino people.
Oh,
Great people. Nice Filipino.
I didn't see any Filipinos in the picture that you sent me.
No, don't worry about that. Um, The whole thing was supposed to be the reservation was for 6:30. This being a Filipino birthday party, guess what time they all came?
7:30.
Exactly. Ding, ding, ding. We got a winner. Yes, everybody showed up about an hour later, even though we were there on time.
I think the whole idea here is that Filipino party in the US still starts an hour after the call time.
Exactly. Well, that's not the worst part. We all almost lost our table or reservation at the restaurant because the reservation was made for 6 o'clock and the invitation was sent for 6:30.
And then people arrived at 7:30.
And
Party
people arrived at 7:30.
for a party of how many?
20,
20. And then
20
it was
people.
just and then to begin with, it was just you and your wife at 6:30.
Correct. And then two other people or three other people arrived 30 minutes later. Everybody else another 30 minutes later.
So it's just you and your wife for a party of 20.
Yeah.
So there's 18 other seats there
That are
just
empty.
cold and waiting for the rest of the people.
Exactly.
So how did it go? So people finally arrived. The
People
Filipinos
finally
finally
around. We
arrived.
finally, hey, hi. It's like nothing happened. Like it doesn't matter. Like everybody seems like they're on time, you know. But Philippine time, as always, everybody's late, you know. I mean,
Philippine time, even in Maryland.
yeah, yeah. The food wasn't bad, although our waitress really did not like the idea of having to serve a bunch of Filipinos for some reason or a big party, you know. Because everybody, what? Let me put it this way: so there's 20 people, three men, everybody else women.
Nah, all Filipinos.
Yeah, all Filipino who happens to be talking like,
Uh, picture.
hold on, one more. After like 5 pictures, just like one more, one more. Oh my god! But anyway, it was great. Don't get me wrong. I love these people. They're fun to hang out with. It's so funny. Um, but the whole process was just crazy, you know. So supposedly the whole night was we're like, well, let's go dress up nice, you know, wear dresses or stylish thing or whatever.
Mm.
And then after dinner was supposed to be a to go drinking at a bar, which is about 10 minutes away, which is fine. So they gave the name of the bar Cancun Cantina. So stupid me, I didn't Google it. I just decided, oh, Cancun Cantina. I'm guessing it's some kind of Spanish bar.
Were you in the position to Google it and say
Yeah,
whether
I
you
just
want to
didn't.
go there or not? No,
Yeah,
no.
we
I
just
mean,
didn't.
like, I could imagine that if you were with your wife and her friends and the rest of relatives, it's like you don't really have a choice. That's where we're going.
Yeah, but I'd still like to know where I'm getting myself into, you know?
Being the good Filipino you are, you don't Google that shit. You just walk in there and follow the rest of your relatives.
Well, I'm considered a twink. A twink is kind of like a racial slur for yellow or brown in the outside and white inside.
Okay.
um, because I'm a little bit whitewashed, to be honest with you, you know.
Okay.
So we get there. I see mostly pickup trucks, jeeps, trucks parked everywhere. Parking lot was full. Go inside.
I bet
It's
I bet you were thinking this is the party place tonight. This is
oh
where
yeah. I
it's
mean,
happening. It's what if anything's happening, it's happening here.
as soon as you walk in the door at Cancun Cantina, there's a bouncer, big white guy. You look to your right, there's an electric bull.
Nice.
Yeah. So that
So
was
that's
like
the second red flag.
that. Well, no, that's the first red flag. No,
No,
second, yes. The first one
yeah.
was a big white guy.
No, even before that were the trucks parked outside.
That's true. The next red flag is while we were lining up to be patted down by these giant ass bouncer, there's a group of guys and girls that walk right in front of us, all wearing cowboy hats. All of them. There's probably 10, 15 of them walked right across, all wearing cowboy hats and wearing cowboy boots. You know, as soon as you walk in after the bouncer, all you hear is like everybody's like dancing in the line and everything. It was a Twilight Zone experience. I've
Yeah.
never felt so underrepresented in my life.
Out of place, you mean?
Oh no, both. Out of place is not even that bad. Underrepresented. I'm telling you, in a sea of 500 to 600 white people,
Oh
maybe
wow.
20 are Asian, black, and Spanish. And I brought most of the Asian people with with my group of party that came in. You know, I
But I
maybe
say wow,
saw what?
that there were like 500 people in that one venue.
Oh yeah, I think so. It's pretty huge. There's two bars. There's the one side where line dancing and whatnot. The other side, the other bar, it's like a live band. You know, that was kind of cool. The live band was kind of cool. But when we got there, um, I just felt extremely out of place, and my wife even felt bigger, like out of place because she was kind of wearing like a J Lo outfit type of thing,
Okay.
and then everybody else around you is wearing jeans,
Gene.
um, cowboy boots, cowboy hat with a giant buckle for their belt. I don't know, and a sea
Long.
of white people with women walking around showing their cleavage as much as they could. It was crazy. I've never felt so underrepresented and out of place. I'm telling you.
On the
But you know,
negative side,
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just thinking, I couldn't help but ask, was there anything negative about that experience? I mean, was it awkward, funny, or was it awkward?
It was awkward, funny as soon as we got in. Like me and my wife were the first ones to walk in. We got a lot of looks. I'm not even kidding. I'm wearing jeans, my Jordans, a sweater, and a sports jacket, right?
Yeah.
And my wife is wearing like this J Lo looking outfit
Yeah.
where her ass is
No,
sticking out
I,
like there's no tomorrow.
I know, but compared to the waitress that you came, that the from the restaurant that you just came from, kind of had that feeling that, they didn't want to serve party of 20 Asians.
No, no,
Did
no,
did
no.
you
It had
did
nothing. It wasn't like that.
no, but did you feel any not animosity, but yeah, anything racial?
No, we just got a
Hate?
lot of looks. That's it. Like people were just like, "Oh, fresh meat. They're not from here." It's obvious. Why would it be obvious? We're the only dark skinned people in here. So
So you
eventually,
were welcome.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. We definitely felt welcome, you know. But eventually, we walk in and I turn around, I see a black guy. The first out of four black guys that I saw the whole night, you know.
How did
And
that go for them?
well, it's a black guy that's wearing a cowboy hat, a vest, buckles, cowboy boots.
At least
I
he's
mean, he
wearing the
fit
right
in more than
clothes.
we did.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
And then finally, a sea of short Asian women walks in, like my wife's friends, basically. That whole party that we went to. And then we decided to venture off. There's like a back bar and just commendated that area, basically, you know? And it was just weird. It was definitely weird because I was getting a lot of looks. I think, well, one of the Filipino guys told me here we're exotic at that bar, basically, you know?
Okay.
Like I said, there's probably like 600 people, maybe 20, 30 are colored like black Asians or whatever. It
Yeah.
was it was an
You know,
experience.
The thing that I don't get about line dancing, and I remember, doing a little bit of that in PE back in, you know, high school, or was
Yeah,
it in middle school or whatever. What I don't get is everybody actually enjoys dancing in a group because it's like the steps are all set together. Because like you would think that if you go to a dance club or a place where people dance, everybody kind of does their own thing.
right,
But the whole idea for line dancing is to be part of the line. It's to
right,
be,
exactly. It's actually quite impressive. So
yeah,
there's a dance floor, right? At the end of the
right,
dance floor is a stage. When
yeah.
a new song would come up, maybe two or three people would get up on the stage, and I guess they would dance the proper line dancing that you're supposed to be dancing, and
Hmm.
then people on the floor are following them.
So it's like a little like a Zumba class.
Yeah, in a way,
Yeah.
you know. But and I gotta give it to them. My wife and I tried it.
Uh,
Line dancing is no joke. It's
you have
hard.
you have two left feet. What do you mean?
No, no. You just have to find the proper rhythm when you're doing it, But the timing is difficult because there's all these songs, country songs that comes up, right? On a particular timing, you gotta turn, you gotta put your left foot out, you gotta do this. It's like doing a cha-cha, basically.
But is it set by the leader of the group or whoever's up on stage? Does everybody just follow, or
That's
is
what I don't understand.
or
If
is there
is
like a
it something like that, or everybody's supposed to know what they're supposed to do?
is there a music video somewhere that you should have watched before you walked in the door?
That would have been nice if there was. So at least we didn't look like jackasses there, you know.
And and I remember with line dancing, it's not the same if you don't have the boots on.
Exactly.
If you're
So
wearing sneakers or rubber shoes,
I'm wearing sneakers and my wife's got these high heels on, and it just didn't look right.
so you got the whole awkward Asian experience.
Yeah, basically. Although the bartender was awesome. Maybe it's because we were tipping pretty good. I don't know.
And you were a group of 20, yeah. So
Right, right.
can't complain.
Yeah, it's like every time I tip, like the first instance is I ordered a drink for my wife and I. The drink came out to like $16, right?
Mm.
I gave him 20. He was giving my change back, and I said, "No, don't worry, it's all you." And he just threw out a fist bump to me. He's like, "Let me know what you need, anything." I'm like, "All right," making it sound like the other people over there don't know how to tip or something, you know. So
Nice.
that felt pretty good. I mean, at least.
And you'd be kind of like, I could be Asian, but I got your tip.
Right.
So
Exactly.
don't say anything about, can't complain about us Asians. We're
Right.
tipping pretty well.
But I gotta admit though, there's
But
just a lot of attractive women who are into um
line
uh
dancing.
line dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
You know,
I wouldn't think.
but this whole racism thing, you got to give it to the comedians that are really able to like make funny stuff, comedy,
Yeah.
because it is kind of a stupid, we're all like we're all with one big family, and it's like we're like siblings sort of
Yeah.
hating on each other, and it is kind of a funny thing to think about. I mean, if you think about it, right, it's kind of stupid, like you said, it's
I
so
don't get
dumb.
it, honestly. I mean, if we're segueing to that, that's a
I
whole
mean,
different story. I mean, I
no, no,
it bothers me a lot, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah, no, I don't want to get too serious and too like put a dampened spirit to it, but it is. I just going on with what you were saying a while ago, that it's kind of stupid because
Yeah.
it is stupid until if you keep going with it, it becomes hurtful and negative and toxic, and but like like the beginnings of it,
Yeah.
it's, it's funny stupid.
I
you know
learn I kind of learned to ignore things when it comes to something like that
Mm.
because I've actually, unfortunately, um, I've I've been, what's the word I'm looking for?
That's a nice way to put it, though. You kind of just choose your battles.
Yeah. Well, I
Are
have
you
no
gonna?
choice because I've had the unfortunate incident to experience racial discrimination and racial attack. I've been racially discriminated on, and I have
Yeah.
been racially attacked. Um, and it was in the most unfortunate situation. Like the first, I'll give you an example just for stories purposes and whatnot. I was at the restaurant way back then. I was with a number of people, some friends of mine who majority turns out to be white. Unfortunately, this restaurant that we were at had a very long wait, about an hour or so, right? And I just didn't feel good to begin with that day. That, when you're getting sick, you feel clouded, you feel fatigued and whatnot.
Mm.
Well, I was feeling that day. So I decided to sit down at this bench in front of the restaurant while we were waiting for our table. It
Oh
turns
no.
out at the other end of the bench, which happens to be a pretty long bench, was this white guy, um, older gentleman, and I don't know. I guess I just sat there like this. I was
I mean, he
tired. I
was
was trying to rest. Right.
he was in line for as a customer,
I guess he was one of the customers online, but he was sitting at the other end of the
right?
bench,
Okay.
and out of nowhere, apparently, this guy started yelling at me like, "Where are you from, you motherfucking Asian
Right.
fool," or something like that. Go back
Right.
to where you're from. And like, what are you doing here in our country anyway? And me being fatigued and sick, I didn't really hear a lot of what he was saying. And
Uh.
then apparently he started yelling like, "So what? You don't speak English? You're in our
Mm.
country and you don't speak. Go back to wherever you came from." He was yelling this at me.
Mm.
And my friend who was standing in line saw this white guy, um, saw what this other white guy was doing to me. So my friend, I guess, went to my defense and started getting into a fight with this other white guy because he was racially attacking me, you know? And obviously I was grateful for it, but I didn't really get a chance to like confront this guy because I was feeling so fatigued and I was sick. I barely even heard any
Mm.
of what the other guy was attacking me with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my friend was there, a couple of my friends actually, and they saw and witnessed everything.
Mm.
And I guess they kind of realized that I wasn't sure what was going on.
Mm.
That's why they came in to my defense.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And it sucks. And the only reason I really knew about the whole thing after, it's because my one of my other friends, my girlfriend at the time, who happens to be white, was recording it, the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah. And after watching it, I felt angry. I was pissed off. Like, how the hell where does this guy get off and start yelling to me about all this shit? You know? And I was actually being racially attacked. And it sucked. Yeah.
Woo.
Anyway, I didn't mean to like put a damper on things and what.
Yeah. I just realized since we anyway. Uh. Maybe I'll just edit this out or what. I'll just hold on. Let me just put that in there so it's easy for me to find.
Okay.
No, the recording, since we downloaded it and uploaded it, so everything, all the preferences, Zoom preferences, like are back to zero default again. So I
Ah,
wasn't able to check the record separate audio file of each participant.
got it. So what does
Um,
that mean on your side? It's not recording properly or what?
no, it's not going to be two separate stems. It's not going to be Noel and ano, but it's all right. Let's just we're going to have to wrap up anyway
Yeah.
soon, so we could just um just my two thoughts on that whole experience of yours. It's just another one of those things where, yeah, like what I kind of said about a while ago, like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but a lot of times we kind of just gotta figure if we're going to mess with a pig or, just choose your battles. It's like, is it really
Yeah,
worth,
yeah.
the back and forth, the answering back and
Up to
the
what
whole,
extent do we? Up to what extent does
yeah.
one really stand there and just take it? You know what I mean?
There was a
That's
time that
that's the gray line.
there was a little bit of a push and a shove in the train here one time I was riding because I was
Ah,
like really like upset that people were pushing each other and I
right,
kind of and then I said my 2 cents about like, hey, stop pushing and that kind of thing, and nobody was sort of reacting because like obviously everybody's pushing each other, obviously we're having a little bit of a stampede here because it was like rush hour,
right,
and I just felt like an asshole for I felt like a dumbass for like complaining about something that everybody is obviously going through.
right, right.
I
It's
mean, I
normal
don't
to them.
no, no, I mean, I don't know how that probably doesn't even relate to this whole racial experience that we were talking about. It's just the whole thing about like what are you complaining about? Like everybody's
Right, right, right.
going through the same thing. Like, yes, you have your rights, but is it really important to have your rights right now? Let's just
It
all
kind
try to
of
get
it, it
from
kind of
point A to
makes you
B.
seem like you're a snob to the
Well,
situation
for complaining or for not complaining?
for complaining. Obviously, it's making it look like it's obvious that you don't do it on a regular basis.
Right. You're right about that. I didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But just relating it back to the whole racial experience, I guess it's
right.
another one of those things. Like, yes, you have the right. You could stand up for your rights as being an Asian in America or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, eh, don't waste your
Is it
time.
worth the battle? You know.
Yeah, like yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's just kind of how I was relating to it.
See, that's the thing that struggle with. You know I have to be patient about it, or we all have to be patient about it. But at the same time, how much do we take? You know,
Yeah,
it's never easy. I don't even know what to think about how black people are being treated or what they have to go through and whatnot, because I would never know. I can't
yeah,
relate to it. I heat
yeah.
up.
People are from one of my did you ever have Mrs. Zimmer for
Yeah, for
English
English.
class?
Yeah,
I'm always going to remember her for saying, there's a quote that she shared with me. Everybody had what is it? Opinions are like assholes.
yeah.
Everybody has one. I always remember her for that. So
I don't remember her saying that for some reason.
it's
Wow.
one of those like reflections that we had in. Were you in my advanced English class? Like, I think that's where we were classmates at, right?
I think we were.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Anyway.
know, yeah, it's in one of those sharings, where she used to have us like reflect on some article or something like that. But yeah,
Wow.
don't know
Huh.
how that pops up, but I remember her for sharing that with me.
Right, right.
So yeah, and relating it back to assholes, I guess it's like, some people's assholes stink more than others.
some,
Right?
some people's assholes. Sorry, I'm writing this out. Ass-
Yeah.
Um, I don't know where to go from here. For some reason, I'm stuck.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up, or with assholes, wipe it up. let's let's wipe up this mess and
I don't,
flush
you
the
know,
toilet.
we'll talk about this after. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, thanks for chiming in, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, but we'll definitely work on things and make things better. Uh, anyway,
In terms of what? I like it how messy and
I have no
not
idea, honestly.
not
This
better.
always happens when sometimes something's gonna be said and throws me off in such a big loop that I can't pick myself up. Do you know
Wait,
what I'm trying to say?
not exactly. Are you
Like
talking about like
you're
a
gonna make a
sour milk?
comment. I'm gonna make a comment. And it throws me off so much that I can't get myself back in track in regards to having a conversation about anything.
You know what I can't pull myself out of is this whole racial idea. It's just one of those the racism thing that we were just talking about a while
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And how true it is, but it's really and it's like I think what I'm saying is I don't even believe what I'm saying. Not like how you should say now, oh, choose your battles, like don't waste your time. But at the same time, it's just so sad that we gotta go through shit like that.
It is. But what are we gonna
That
do? You know?
that's one of the things maybe I want to ask foreigners, wink, wink, when we get the chance to talk to them. Like, is there ever a time that I'm sure they do, but I want to hear stories. Like, do Caucasians, do white people ever feel small or under or racially discriminated? I'm sure they do. I get discriminated just for speaking English in my own country here in the Philippines
Well,
because, oh,
that's a
you're
different. You can't. That's not even similar because
Philippine.
one,
No,
you're Filipino in the Philippines.
no, but
Two,
there's like
a white
Filipino ka
guy.
naman. You're Filipino. Why are you speaking in English?
Yeah, but there's no comparison. It's not a comparison to
Yeah,
you and what a white guy goes through or not go through. With all honesty, I don't think
yeah, yeah,
white people get really discriminated on as much as we do.
yeah.
You know.
Would you ever say, oh, you just think that this place is hospitable and everybody's nice? Yeah, because you're white.
Well, why? You mean to tell me that Filipinos act that way only to Filipinos?
Act what way?
Like I mean, they only act that way only to foreigners, not to fellow Filipinos.
No, 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 not at all. I'm sure they do.
Well, okay,
No, no, no. And we're nice to everyone, I think, in general. But I
right.
think there's a little bit of extra sauce there when you're foreigner.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I agree to
Be,
that because
be,
even when I go there, people. I guess I don't really look Filipino enough that people are actually automatically assume that I'm a foreigner.
mm,
And they treat me differently, a lot differently. And they're a lot nicer and more catering. I have to
gosh, I don't
admit.
know where this conversation is going, but me, I have my foreigner experiences in a sense, when they think I'm Korean or Japanese or
Right,
not Filipino, or they might even think that I'm Spanish. They think that I'm out of the country.
right.
And even if I'm speaking, or not until I open my mouth, but just judging by the way I look, sometimes they're like they have that extra twinkle in their eye and they're nice. But
Mhm.
once they find out that I'm Filipino and that I speak Tagalog, once mag-umpisa ako mag-Tagalog, it's like that niceness goes down just a little bit, or that twinkle in their eye just disappears just a little bit
Right, right.
because he's Filipino. It's like, nothing special here. Let's okay, but everybody
Oh, you know what? That could be it.
back back to work, everybody. He's Filipino. Let's just
That could be it. Maybe it's the whole special treatment type of thing, you know?
nothing to see here. Pinoy,
Right.
Pinoy pala, Pinoy, Pinoy.
Yeah. Well, wag na.
You know,
Hayaan mo na
he's going
Pilipino naman eh.
he's going to ask for a discount just like everybody else. Nothing special. But again, whether it's in another country or this country, it's like people have their biases and they have their opinions and they have the
Right,
right to be.
right.
But maybe what I'm just saying is the hospitality of the Philippines is just a little bit overrated, I think. Maybe that's what I mean.
Overrated or skewed?
What do you mean skewed? Like out of place
No, skewed word definitely the indifferent is treated 10 times better.
to foreigners?
Yeah.
Eh,
I know.
do we give them extra special treatment because they're foreigners?
Yeah.
Again, I don't really have like a solid opinion about this whole thing. It's like, I could barely explain my way out of the pyramids hypothesis a while ago, so I'm not very eloquent about it. But
Right, right.
just to bring it down to feelings, to me, it's just one of those stupid sibling things.
Yeah. Okay.
But um, not to dampen the whole idea of Filipinos being hospitable and nice. It's true, but isn't it true also that there's like a little bit extra sauce there or extra service there because they're foreigners? Like this whole colonial mentality, special thing. Do we think of ourselves small because we're Asian or Filipino or something like that?
I don't know. Maybe this is a
Or
good chance for our listeners, the very few, to possibly comment about it.
no, maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe what it is that they're just extra nice, not because they're foreigner or because they're different, and we got to give it to our fellow brothers and sisters to be happy and excited to be getting the chance to experience another culture in our country.
Right.
I think that's the positive side of it, that we are
That's definitely the flip side to it.
open to ideas and thankful, I think is the word. We're more thankful for, hey, thanks for coming to the country. It's
Right.
kind of thing. Like that's the thing that I experienced when I was in Cebu and Visayas in general. That they
Right.
weren't, it wasn't a colonial mentality thing like, oh, they're foreigners, we look up to them. It's not necessary. It's more like, what is it? Yeah, I think it's something about being grateful for being able to like I can experience what it's like to have American or Western culture without me flying to the US or Europe or another country. They actually come here. You know what I mean? So it's like home food delivery. I don't actually have to go to McDonald's. They can actually deliver it to my house.
Right.
I
Right.
think that's kind of the grateful Filipino spirit that we have, and generally why we're probably happy for compared to the rest of the world. That's There's that statistic, right?
Yeah. That's true. I don't
Maybe
know.
that sense of being grateful.
But in any case, it's an experience and a feeling that I hope to live and experience more in the future. You know.
One last thing to dampen the whole spirit. You ever get that you're talking to a Filipino, but they don't like you because you are Filipino?
Yeah, absolutely. I get that feeling where I am judged 10 times more just for being the same culture as they are.
In America,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
right?
especially for Filipinos here. Sad to
Yeah, so
say.
there's all those things going on all at the same time, and we just gotta laugh at it because it's so stupid.
Only if it was that easy, Only if it was that easy,
I'm
unfortunately.
sure. I wonder if other Asian nationalities experience the same thing. If Chinese discriminate against other Chinese, or if Koreans discriminate other Koreans. I'm sure they do.
I'm
I'm sure
sure
it's
they
the
do,
same
but I
thing.
don't think, I don't know. I'd like to find out, to be honest with you, but I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's fine to have all that racial discrimination kind of thing. I think it's just not good when you are imposing your opinions on other people.
Well,
When it
that's
becomes
always the case, though. I mean, everybody
talk.
who's anybody, and no matter what race, language you speak, or where you live, people will always impose their own opinions to everybody else or to whoever. That's just human nature.
Let's just go back to what Mrs. Zimmer said. Everybody's going to have opinions, just like assholes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
let's
some
just
assholes stinks worse than the other.
right and don't. This is where it becomes bad. Just don't force other people to clean up your own crap,
Ah,
to
yeah.
clean up your
Yeah.
own asshole. Where are we going with that?
I don't know.
It's frustrating, but it's funny. But at the same time, it's frustrating, and we're trying to deal with it. But we know we don't have to deal with it. Let's just
Right,
move on
right.
to bigger and better problems. Like let's figure out if the pyramids are actually built by the aliens.
Or are we all part of the matrix? Right? I don't
Some really messy soup.
know. Anyway,
You have a
that's
good
it for
week.
today. That's it for today. All right, guys. Well, thank you for chiming in again, like always. And I said it earlier. My name is Jason.
Name's Noel.
All right. We'll see you later.
on the flip side.
Two guys, two worlds. This is the flip side. New episodes uploaded on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify every week on Wednesday and Saturday.